record. Okay, we are now recording. So if you don't want your image on the recording, you're allowed to turn off your cameras. The only time I insist on it is during exams. Okay, Rose, I got you, and Hugo, I got you.
Okay, awesome.
Okay.
Thanks, Professor.
So, okay, Adriana, I did call your name, actually, but I'm kind of going against what I said I wouldn't do, but it's too late now. I have to get a little bit later. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, we are recording, so share the screen. Now, while I'm setting up, my formal lecture isn't going to be that long, actually. Okay, so we're here. So 6.5 today. I even did one problem last time in 6.5. So technically, if you understood everything I talked about last time, you could have already done all of 6.5, but I'll go ahead and do more problems for 6.5. It will not take me that long to finish everything, okay? At which point I will let you ask questions the rest of the time. So if you have any questions about any of the material up to Thursday's exam, then you can bring it up. Otherwise, we would just adjourn and stop. Okay, you've already seen one exam, so same rules apply for the second exam, right? So I will start class as normal, our normal starting time of 4:40, and I'll let you ask questions up until 5 o'clock at the latest. But if questions stop earlier than that, we can start right away. I believe last time nobody had any questions, so we just started right away. Okay, so on Thursday, I will again just project the exam, let you get started with that. Okay, so, I'll show it to you like this. Okay, you can get started, but I'll also go into Canvas and send you the exam on Canvas announcements. Okay, and the rest of the class on Thursday, the 18th, you'll do the problems. Okay, there's going to be 10 questions, and it's literally 2 per section, and it's exactly in this order. Okay, so the first 2 questions on the test are 6.1, the next 2 are 6.2, 6.3. So you don't have to wonder, which formula should I use? You've got it right there. Okay, I've already shown you all the formulas. If I have time, I'm pretty sure I have time, I'll go back and rehash what those all are. Okay, and just like last time, there's a 70% homework requirement. As soon as class is over today, you may start submitting the homework if you already have it. I mean, I don't want it too early, but right after class ends today, you can submit the homework anytime up until half an hour after the exam. So Thursday's exam, well, it ends at what, 5:55. So you have 5 minutes to submit the exam, 6 o'clock. So take a picture on your cell phone. You know the way it works. It's exactly the same as the quiz is. Take a picture, and or if you have a scanner, scanning is better. Okay, and that has to be by 6 o'clock, and then I'll give you until 6:30 to submit the homework. But if you want to submit the homework early, you may. Again, it doesn't matter which edition of the text you have. You can pick any edition as long as you're doing the homework and look at my examples. That's good enough for me. Okay, and again, there's a 70% homework requirement. So even if you submit exam, if you don't give me at least 70% of the homework, I don't grade your test. It counts as a 0. Okay, so there's a homework requirement. Okay, again, I look at your homework and the exam, and I compare the writing sometimes, and if the writing doesn't seem to match, I get suspicious for the exams, right? Okay, so that's pretty much about that. Okay, so second exam is this Thursday. Okay, so any quick questions before I get started with 6.5 material? Let me check the chat. Okay, somebody just joining right now. Okay. If you think I missed you on the roll call, go ahead and put it. In case you're wondering, by the way, if you join late, I mark it, but I do mark it as late. So I say attendance, but L for late, and that's not as good as if you showed up on time. Now, if you have a reason to join late, just tell me you had internet trouble or something happened at home, or something happened at work. Just tell me. But otherwise, it gets marked as a late, which is not as good as showing up on time, obviously. Okay. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and get started with the work. I'm probably going to finish fairly early. So you think about any questions you might have from here, and if you don't have any, we'll end fairly early. Okay, and likewise, same thing on Thursday. Thursday, I'll start with questions, and if you don't have any questions, we'll go straight to the test. Okay, so 6.5, I do see some more stuff in the chat, but we'll get to it in time. Okay, so 6.5, again, we're using the same formula as 6.4. Okay, and I'll go over this again. Again, I highly advise you to put this thing on your cheat sheet. It's on page 406. You say, I don't have your book. Well, this is being recorded. You can just watch the recording and copy this exact thing on the recording, right? So the only formula you need, 6.4 and 6.5, same formula, is this one right here. Again, you don't need that middle thing. So AN, present value, is R, periodic payments, 1 minus 1 plus I to the negative n over I. Okay, again, put that on your formula sheet. Okay, so 6.5, we're taking out loans. Okay, the assignment was supposed to be what here? 3 through 12. Okay, so again, I'll show it to you. I may have shown it to you last time, so try to make sure that I catch everybody. Okay, and 9, 10, 11, 12, there they are. Okay, and that's in my book. So again, if you never get any book and you just want to go off my book, this will do. Okay, so last time I did one problem already, number 6. So I'll do 8 and then some of the amortization problems from 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay. Okay, so let me start off with number 8. Okay. So number 8, Adrienne and Anna's auto repair wants to add a new service pay. How much can they borrow at 5% compounded quarterly for 4.5 years? The desired quarterly payment is $10,000. Okay, so we have to figure out the amount that they can borrow. They're paying 5% compounded quarterly. You should know what that means. And 4.5 years, and the payment is $10,000. Okay. So R is $10,000. 5% quarterly. So compounded quarterly means I take the 5% 0.05 and divide it by 4, and that gives me 0.0125. Okay, the N is 4.5 years. 4.5 years times 4 because it says quarterly, right? So 4.5 times 4 is 18. So N is 18, I is 0.0125, and I throw it into the formula. Straight plug-in. Yeah, obviously bring your calculator on the test. You're not going to do very well if you don't have your calculator. So either the regular scientific calculator or the fancier calculator, you know, something like this would be fine. Again, we mentioned it's a lot easier for some problems if you have the answer key, ANS. So I talked about that. If you don't have it, then it's a little bit tougher, but you can still manage. All right, so 10,000 goes here. Then by formula, 1 minus 1 plus I, so 1 plus 0.0125 is 1.0125, raised to the negative n, be careful, it's a negative exponent, negative 18, divided by 0.0125. Okay, and again, to save time, I won't punch this out. I've shown it to you before, but you know, if it's just calculation, I don't think I want to go through every nitty-gritty detail. If you have a question about how to work your own calculator, talk to me, or send me an email or see me during office hours. We'll try to work it out. $160,295.49. Okay. Again, if it's money, money should always be rounded to the nearest penny. Okay. I may have let it go on the last quiz, but I won't let it go on exams maybe. Okay. Money is to, so don't put 0.491, for instance, just that. All right, so the answer is they borrowed $160,295.49, which is what all of this comes out to be. Okay, and extra note, side note, what's the total amount of the payments? Okay, so it says that they're paying $10,000 each period for 18 periods. So that's 10,000 times 18, which is $180,000. Okay, and that's the way loans always work. So they borrowed 160,000 plus, you pay back $180,000. Loans are always that way, right? You end up paying more than the amount that you borrowed. Okay, so that's the way that works. Okay, and let me quickly check the chat. Okay, so some of you just joined. All right, that's fine. And sending links. Okay. All right, so now I'm going to go over the amortization schedule. I talked about it. Okay, so 9, 10, 11, 12, develop an amortization schedule for the loan described. Okay, so to actually find out the amount that you borrow is just using the formula, but then how do you make the schedule, right? So I'm going to go back and talk about this again, which I mentioned last time. So going over this example right here, right? So for this particular case, they were borrowing $10,000 at 10% with 5 equal annual payments. Okay, and if you throw it in the formula, it's 2637.97. Okay, so let me rehash what happened last time. So it says 5 payments. So period 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I guess you can put a 0 here. Okay, in fact, when I do it, I'm going to put a 0 at the top. 0. All right, $10,000. Okay, now the payment that we saw was by formula 2637.97. You keep writing 2637.97 for all of them except the last one. Okay, so all but the last. Notice it's 2637.97, 2637.97. Same, but don't put it for the last one. It might be the same. It might be a little bit higher, which is true in this case, or it might be a little bit lower. In a case I'll show you later. Okay, so I was going to show you at least 3 examples. Here's one example where the final payment's a little bit higher. I'll show you one where it's a little bit lower, and I'll show you one where it's exactly the same. All right, now in this case, the interest was 10% per period. Okay, so you make this payment, but you don't get to reduce the balance by the full 2637.97. You first have to pay off the interest. So first you have to pay 10% of 10,000, which is 1,000. So you subtract this, 1637.97. That's the amount that you get to reduce the balance by. Okay, so this minus this is this, and that's what I'm writing over here. And you can put likewise on your formula sheet, on your cheat sheet. So this column minus this column is this column. And those of you who know spreadsheets, this is very easy to set up in a spreadsheet. Take this cell, subtract that cell, equals that cell. Okay, and this is also very easy to do in a spreadsheet. This number minus this number is this. So now you owe 8362.03. Repeat, just keep going. Make that payment. You don't get to reduce this much though. First, you have to pay off the 10%. So 10% of this, rounded to the nearest penny, is 836.20. Subtract this minus this is this. That's the amount you get to reduce the balance by, 1801.77. So once again, subtract that minus that is 6560.26. Okay. Do the same thing for period 3, period 4, but not for period 5. Period 5 is different. Okay, so here, 2398.18. You know you're going to pay off the whole loan, so it'll be 0. That means this automatically has to be 2398.18. No choice, right? The loan is paid off after 5 periods, so you must copy this. So 2398.18, 2398.18, so the remainder is 0. Now you figure out the balance interest as usual. So in this case, it's 10%. Take 10% of this, it's 239.82. Okay, so now you know whatever's behind my pen minus this number is this number. So therefore, when you go in this direction, you add. So now you add this plus this equals this. So that comes out to be 2638. So you can see we're off by 3 cents. Okay, so by doing this amortization of a loan, you might be off. Usually it's a small amount, a penny or 2 pennies or 3 pennies. Okay, remember we're rounding off. When you punch it in the calculator, right? It's probably not 2637.97. Maybe it's 2637.968425316 or something like that. If we had money that literally goes that far, then the payments will be exactly the same all the time. Since there's a rounding off error, you might be off by a few pennies. Okay, and these are all the totals. Okay, so notice that last payment, you had to pay what, 3 more cents? Okay, so just add all this up, add all this up, add all this up. Okay, double check. This balance reduction should match the original 10,000. Okay, and here's the total interest. And as you might guess, this plus this is this. Okay, so the total of all my payments was $13,189.88. How much did I borrow? 10,000. That's the way loans always are. So you had to pay $3,189.88 for interest. So I borrowed 10,000, I pay 13,000 back plus. Okay, that's the way loans always work. Okay, so again, put this on your cheat sheet, on your formula sheet. This will probably be the hardest problem or the longest problem. So this would probably be the last problem, question 10. The others you just go through the usual, but so again, first 2 questions are from section 1, second 2 are from section 2, then section 3, section 4, and section 5, and I'll end up with something like this. Okay, so now let me show you that, and let me check the chat for a question. Okay, all right, that's fine. All right, so let's make an amortization schedule. Okay, so number 10, $30,000 for 5 years, 7% compounded annually. Okay, so here we go. $30,000, 5 years. Now, 7% annually. If it's annually, what do I divide the 7% by? I don't divide it by anything. It stays 7%. Likewise, 5 years, annual compounding, and it's 5. I don't have to multiply by anything, right? Now, if it said semi-annual, 5 times 2, right? Quarterly, 5 times 4. Monthly, 5 times 12. Daily, 5 times 365. Okay, so the I is 0.07. Throw it in the formula, figure out the monthly payments. So 30,000, annual payments is R times 1 minus 1.07 to the negative 5 divided by 0.07. And if you punch this in a calculator, it's about 4.100. Okay, I think I'll actually go ahead and show you this particular one. Okay, so 1 minus 1.07 to the negative 5. 1 minus 1.07 exponent negative 5, and then divided by 0.07. Okay, so 1 minus 1.07 to the negative 5 divided by 0.07, 4.1000. Okay, so it's 30,000 equals R times 4.1. So divide both sides by 4.1, but don't round it off to get the greatest accuracy. Okay, again, if you have the answer button, then you folks just go 30,000 divided by second function answer. Second answer, there it is. So when I hit answer, it's the same to the calculator as if I typed in 4.10019743595. Save a lot of time there. Okay, so 7316.720 rounded off to 72. Okay. Again, you say, I don't have that answer button. You folks just have to take another 10 or 15 seconds. Then sorry, you folks have no choice but to literally go 30,000 divided by, and then if you've already written it down, right, 4.1001974 3. So it's a little bit harder for you guys. And anyway, there we go. Yeah, 7316.72. Okay, so you're definitely advantage. You're at an advantage if you have the answer button. If you don't, not too big a deal. It just takes you another 15 seconds to write it all down. Okay, now let me show you the schedule. Okay, period, payment, interest, balance reduction, unpaid balance. Okay, that's exactly the same as, you know, what I had in the text here. Okay, do the best you can. Okay, so if I give you this question and test it, I don't really know what's going on. Do as much as you can. Okay, so the fundamental thing to have is, you know, obviously put all that down. So just copy this. Okay, there were 5 periods. Again, if you take out a real bank loan, like a home loan, that's 30 years, 30 times 12 is 360. This thing would go down to 360. Car loans are what, 3 years, 4 years? That's 3 times 12 is 36. But for brevity's sake, we just go 5. So I like to put 0, 30,000. Okay, now you know the payment is 7316.72. So you copy 7316.72. This one, this one, this one, this one, but not the last one. Don't do the last one yet. Just looking ahead, it turns out in this particular case, it is the same, but pretend you don't know that yet. So when you're writing this schedule, right? 7316.72 was the payment, copy it down. And by the way, if you get this number wrong and you put this down, I'll know that. I'm not gonna double mark you off for that. So let's say you got here 7,200. Then you would put 7,200, 72. That's not another mistake. Okay, yeah, this whole thing will get messed up, but I'll take that into account when you fill this out. Okay, so here's the way it works again. This time the interest rate was 7%, 0.07. So take 7% of this, 2,100. Okay, now subtract. I'll raise it up for you. That's not better. That minus that is that 5216.72. That's the amount I get to reduce the balance. I don't get to subtract this whole 7316.72 because first you have to pay off the 7% interest that you told me. It was 7% annual. So 7% of 30,000 is that. Subtract that. That's the amount I get to reduce the balance by. So 30,000 minus 5216.72 is 24,783.28. Okay. And repeat. Keep doing the same thing. So 7316.72. So when you fill out this chart, right? All of these stay the same except for maybe the last one. Then you just follow the process. Take 7%. 7% of that is that. Just take my word for it. Multiply that by 0.07. It's that rounded to the nearest penny. Subtract these two. Again, I'm even letting you putting that on your cheat sheet, right? That minus that is that. That minus that is that. This minus this is this. This minus this is this, and so on. Whoops. And I just knocked over my camera. And I knocked over my book. So things are falling apart here. Okay, so that was fun. Hope this thing's not broken. Well, at least you can still kind of see this. All right. Well, it's going to take me a while to find the page, but maybe I won't look at the page. All right, so anyway, we're back to here. So now 24,000 blah blah minus 55, 19,201.39. Okay, do the same thing. So we already have that. Take 7% of this. The interest rate is 7% in this case. 7% of 19,000 whatever is 1344.10. Subtract that minus that is 5972.62. That's the amount I get to subtract off of the balance, 13,228.77. Keep doing it, but I just want you to notice as time goes by, what's happening to the interest that you pay? You're paying less and less interest. Okay, it looks like maybe about $400 less. In fact, all the way through, right? If I take 400 off of that, it's about that. And about 400 off of that is that, not exactly. And subtract 400 there and 400 there, and then that's it. That makes sense because you owe less interest as time goes by because you owe less money. The less you owe, the less you pay in interest. Again, loans are always that way. Okay, when you take out a car loan or home loan, the most amount of interest you're going to pay is right at the start, right at the beginning. And then later on, you pay less and less. Okay, so we're here. Same thing, take 7% of that, and you get that. Okay, maybe just for demonstration purposes, I'll just show you one of them. So 13,228.77, 13,228.77 times 0.07 equals 926.0139 means 926.01. Again, round off to the nearest penny. I'll take off if you don't. And again, that minus that is that. So 7316.72 minus that is that. Okay, and just in case you want, I'll do that one. 7316.72 subtract 926.01 minus 926.01 equals 6390.71. That's the amount you get to reduce the balance by. So now 13,000 minus that is this. Okay, and show that to you quickly. I'll use this other calculator for that one. So 13228.77 minus 6390, 6390.71. And the nice thing about this calculator is you can see what you typed in. 6838.06. There we are, 6838.06. Okay, we've reached the last one. Now here's the way the last one works. This one's going to be 0. So what do you reduce the balance by? You have to reduce it by the full amount. So this one you just copy right over here, 6836.06, 6836.06. Now, take 7% of this, and that goes right there. So 6838.06 times 0.07. Okay, 478.6642. 478.6642 means 478.66. Okay, and now what goes behind my pen? The sum of these two. So you add this to this. So now 478.66 plus 6838.06 equals, and I typed it in wrong. 0.06. There we are. 7316.72. So now I write that down. And in this particular instance, it did come out to match, but it doesn't, right? The other example I showed you in the book, which is, since I dropped it, it's going to take me a while to find it. Where am I? 6.5. Just bear with me as I try to find it here. This example on page 406. Okay, see that last payment was about 3 cents more, 26.38, as opposed to 26.37.97. This one just will happen to be exactly the same. Okay, you can't tell, you can't predict ahead of time. I can't tell ahead of time until I do it. Okay, and then all the totals, just add all this up. In this case, it's actually easy to multiply by 5, right? So that's that, add all this up, add all this up. If you do this the right way, these should all add up to this number, 30,000. Okay, now during the test, if you can't get it to match, that's okay. Don't cross the whole thing out. I give partial credit. Okay, so you say, oh, I know it's not going to be right. That's okay. Just put it all down. I'll give you partial credit. Okay, add this up. Okay, and yes, this minus this is this, and that seems true. 36,583.60 minus 6,583.60 is exactly $30,000. Okay, so that's the end of this schedule, amortization schedule or amortization table, as it's called. Okay, so what did we borrow? $30,000. How much am I paying back? 36,000 plus. Again, that's the way loans always work. Okay, so I've shown you 2. I was going to show you 1 more, and then I'm basically done, folks. It's only 5:15, but I wanted to leave you some time for questions and answers. But if you didn't have any, we're just going to stop. Okay, so I showed you that one. The last payment was a little bit more. The one we just did, they were equal. And now let me do the last one, problem 12, 50,000, 2.5 years, 10% compounded semi-annually, number 12. Okay. So here we go. And that's the way banks earn money. You got it. That's the way it always works. Okay. So if I have money in the bank, I got money in the bank. It's earning some real small interest, like 0.5% or 0.7%. And if you're lucky, you get 1%. And then turn around. So if you take out a loan, they charge more, right? 3.5, 4. So the banks would have, oh, you know, come get a loan. Rates are historically low. You ever hear that? Which is true. They're low, but you know what they don't tell you is, okay, we will lend it to you for, and you pay us 2.5%, 3%. But if I put money in the bank, how much are they paying me? Less than 1%, which means the banks are making money, which is, you know, what they're out for. All right, anyway, so we're borrowing $50,000, 2.5 years, 10%, semi-annual. Semi-annual means divide by 2. So 0.10 divided by 2 is 0.05. And what is N? N is again 5 in this case. 2.5 times 2 is 5. Throw it into the formula. 50,000 is R, 1 minus 1 plus I to the negative N divided by I. Okay, this all is 4.329, blah, 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 blah. Again, when you're doing it for me, keep every digit. So I'm just putting this for writing purposes, but don't round off on the test. Keep every single digit, which means you're either gonna have to write down every single digit, or if you have the answer key again, right? If you have the answer button, then just hit answer. Okay, so 1 minus, I'll do this, 1.05 exponent negative 5 divided by 0.05. And I must have done something wrong. Yeah, typed in the wrong number. 1 minus 1.05 raised to the negative 5 divided by 0.05. There we go, 4.329. Okay, so I typed in 1 minus 1.05 to the negative 5th power and took that answer and divided by 0.05. 4.329, whatever. Okay, so 50,000 equals 4.329 R. Divide both sides by that 4.329. Okay, if you don't have the answer button, then you folks would have to actually write down on your paper and then divide on your calculator 4.329476670. Okay, it's going to take a little bit longer. You waste maybe 15 seconds. But if you have the answer button, then just go 50,000 divided by second function answer. Okay, so when I hit answer to the calculator, it's the same as if I typed in 4.329476667, whatever. So 11,548.7399. How should I round 7399? 74. So there we go. Okay. Period, payment, interest, balance reduction, unpaid balance. The interest rate is 0.05. I like to put the 0.05 right here for reference. So I have to remember I keep multiplying by 0.05 for the interest. The previous problem was 0.07. The one that was in the book was 0.10, right? So just go by whatever they give you, right? So this one was 10%, so you multiply by 0.10. The previous problem was 7%, so you keep multiplying by 0.07. And this one is 5%, so you keep multiplying by 0.05. Okay. So on a test, I'll give you something like this. The number of periods will either be something like 4 or 5. I mean, if you know how to do it after 4 or 5, you can do it after any number like 36 or 360. Okay. All right, 50,000. Now we know 11,548.74. So here we go. Notice 11,548.74 here, 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 and here, but not the last one. Okay, in fact, in this particular case, the last one comes out to be a little bit less, 2 cents less. Okay, so be ready for anything. The book example was 3 cents more. The one I just did happened to be exactly the same. This one looks like the last payment is 2 cents less. Because of rounding off, you can't tell ahead of time. Okay, yeah, I'll raise it up so easier to focus. All right, so here we go. You make this payment, start off with $50,000. I call it period zero. Okay, take 5%. The interest rate is 5%. So 5% of 50,000 is 2,500. Subtract these two. So 11,548.74 minus 2,500 is 9,048.75. Notice all of these are rounded to the nearest penny. Some of these don't come out to the nearest cent, but you make it that way. That's how much I get to reduce the balance by. So now I go 50,000 minus 9,048.75. The new balance is 40,951.25. Repeat, do the same thing. That's the payment, 5%. 5% of that is that, 2047.56. Subtract that minus that is that. So now I get to reduce by 9501.18. Subtract that minus that, 31,450.07. And repeat. So you can kind of tell once you get the hang of it, you got it. So on a test, if I can give you 4 or 5 periods, that's good enough. If you know how to do it after that, you can do it after any number of periods. Like for a home loan, might be 360, periods. All right, keep going. 5%. 5% of that is that 1572.50. So subtract that minus that 9976.24. So now that minus that is 21,000. Again, notice you're paying less interest. In this case, it looks like by about 500, right? 2,500, 2,000, 1,500, 10, 5. And so, yeah, it looks like the amount of interest you're paying is about 500 less, which means that's how much more you get to reduce the balance by. Because as time goes by, you owe less and less money. Okay, 21,473.83. Okay, take 5% of that. Okay, and I'll actually show you that for this particular one. So 21,473.83 times 0.05. Okay, so 21,473.83 times 0.05. 1073.6915. 6915 means 0.69. Subtract that minus that is that. So 11,548.74 minus 1073.69. So that minus that, 10,475.05. 10,475.05. Okay, that's right here. Then I get to subtract that minus that is that. So 21,473.83 minus this one, which I'll just hit answer key, 10,998.78. Okay, finally, we're at the last one. So we don't know what this one is at the moment. Okay. What time is it, folks? 5, not even 5:25. So I'll be done in just a few minutes. So after this, I will then let you ask any questions you want from here, from the test, as it were. And if you don't have any questions, we're just going to stop. Okay, then you just prepare for the test. Okay, so here we are, 10,998.78. This one matches. So automatically copy this one over here, so it's 0. Right? Same thing for this other one. 683806, 683806, 0. The example I gave you in the book. Right? 239818, 239818, 0. Now, we don't know this number yet. Take 5% of this and you get that. Okay, so 10,998.78 times 0.05. 549.939. So how should I round 0.939? 94. Now I add these two numbers up. Remember, it's this minus this is this. So if I'm going backwards, right, then you add. So now I add 10,998.78 plus 549.94. So 11,548.72. So the last payment, I got to save 2 cents. And there we are. And then the totals are easy. Add these all up, that's that. Add all these up, add all these up. Again, some double checks. This should total to 50,000. That's the balance reduction, right? So the balance reduction should be 50,000 because you started off owing 50,000. So at the end of 5 periods, you've paid off the 50,000. Here's the interest. Here's the total payments. This minus this is this. So 57,743.58 minus 7743.58 is indeed $50,000. And there you go, as you would expect it to be. Okay, so that's the end of this problem. So in a nutshell, you borrowed $50,000. What do you pay back? 57,000 plus. Okay, that way the banks make money. That's the way it always works, unfortunately, right? When you take out a loan. So they say, when if you have the chance, pay it off in full. I mean, at first you say, oh, good, I can pay it over time. Yeah, but if you pay it over time, you end up paying more than you would have originally. Okay. Okay, folks, I'm done with my formal lecture. Okay, so I have nothing else. I will let you ask questions. I'll just quickly say some extra things about formulas and so on. So remember, you get to have one cheat sheet, one formula sheet. Material will be right here on a test. And again, I'm telling you already, it's 2 questions for each section and in order. The first 2 are from 6-1, next 2 are 6-2, then 6-3, 6-4, 6-5. Okay, the last question will be something just like this, because that'll take the most amount of time probably. So the first 9 questions will go by fairly rapidly if you get it right. And of course, have your calculator handy. Okay, so you can have your cheat sheet, but other than that, no other books, no notes, no, talking to anybody, no getting extra help. You can't use your computer, internet, and so forth. Okay. So when you come in on Thursday, so right at 4:40, I'll ask if there's any questions. If you don't have any questions, we'll start. The latest I'll start is 5 o'clock. So give me 5 minutes to set up. And see, I'm promising you 50 minutes. So we'll start by 5:05 and we end at 5:55. Okay. If you finish early, you can leave. So you have until 6 o'clock. Take a picture on your cell phone, right? Just like the quiz, click, 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 click. Or if you have a scanner, scan it. And then I give you another half an hour, so 6:30, turn in the homework by 6:30. But if you want to turn it in early, you say, I already did all this, then just send it to me right away. Just email it to me and that'll be fine. Okay. So yeah, during the test, that's the only time I insist you have your actual camera on with a true background. I don't have much of a background anyway, but I need to see your face. I need your true background. So don't have like the Golden Gate Bridge or anything like that. And if you have a question during the test, send it in the chat. Don't unmute yourself. Again, pretend we were meeting face to face, right? If we were meeting face to face, I wouldn't want you to just yell out, hey, I got a question about number 4, and disturb everybody else. Keep yourself muted and just type the question in the chat and I'll reply back to you. Okay, so that's not an issue. Okay, so I'm going to show you again all the formulas you need. Okay, and I don't see any questions in the chat yet, which means if you don't have anything, we're just going to end. Okay, so 6.1 was on simple interest, questions 1 and 2, okay? So page 362, there's that. I equals PRT. It's here. Again, this is being recorded, so if you think I'm going too fast, you should already have this actually, but if not, watch the recording. Future value, page 363. So S equals P plus I. I also put P plus PRT, since I is PRT. You can also factor out the P, 1 plus RT. They're all equivalent. So just pick whichever one works best for you. Okay, 6.1, first 2 questions. 6.2, compound interest. Page 371. Okay, S equals P times 1 plus I to the n. You don't really need anything else. I is the interest rate per period, okay, which means you take the rate per year and divide it by something. Semi-annual, divide by 2. Quarterly, divide by 4. Monthly, divide by 12. N, the number of years times number of periods per year, right? Semi-annual, multiplied by 2. Quarterly, multiplied by 4. Monthly, multiplied by 12. Annual, if it's annual, you don't multiply by anything except 1. Leave it alone, and the interest rate stays the same also. 6.3, future value of an annuity. Page 384. There it is, S equals, and ignore this thing here. Sorry. Okay, you don't need that thing there. Just S equals R times that big fraction. S equals R times 1 plus I to the n minus 1 over I. That would be questions 5 and 6, I guess. And then 6.4 and 5, present value of an annuity, page 393, same formula. Can ignore that thing. You don't need that. So A sub n, present value, R times 1 minus 1 plus I to the negative n divided by I. And section 5 is the same formula because there the bank is taking an annuity out on you if you stop and think about it, right? So use the same formula for questions 7, 8, 9, and 10 in the test. And then you just have the amortization schedule to help you with that, right? So I showed that to you already. So copy that down if you haven't already gotten. So this thing that I've shown you many times by now, hopefully, page 406. All right, so that's it. I'll take any questions now. Let me check the chat. Okay, 6.3 homework, 13 application preview. Well, let me see what you mean here. 6.3. Okay, so if you're talking about this one, 6.3, do I have the right section? Yeah, 6.313. So if that's the question you want, let's see, $2,500 is deposited at the end of each quarter and account that earns 5% component. Yeah, that's legitimate. The 15 that's there. Okay, no, you don't have to worry about that. Applications preview in my book, maybe it's 15 in your book. Yeah, don't worry about that. But 13 is a legitimate question. Yeah, I may have even done that one. So if that's what you mean, yeah. Okay. All right, so anybody else with a question? Otherwise, we will adjourn. We're done. And just prepare for the test on Thursday. Okay, so I'll wait just a moment to either have you unmute or put something in the chat. I see nothing. All right, so we will adjourn. All right, so that'll do it, folks. So be ready for the test on Thursday. You know what to do. Get your homework ready. And you can submit the homework. If you've already done the homework, go ahead and submit it anytime between now and then. Okay, I will let you ask questions again on Thursday, but if it's like today and nobody has any questions, we'll just go start right away. Then you have more time to do the test. Okay. All right, that'll do it for tonight, folks. So everybody have a good night, and we'll see you Thursday for the test.
Thank you.
All right. Okay.
Thank
Good night,
you.
everybody.
Have a good night.
Bye.
Thank you, Professor.
See you.
Thank you. Have a good night.